Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a highly charged critique by political commentator Owen Jones. He's analyzing Elon Musk's recent and heavily discussed interview with The Economist's editor-in-chief, Zanny Minton Beddos. Now, this is a truly fascinating clash of worldviews. And by looking closely at the specific arguments made by both sides here, we can get a much clearer picture of the current heated debates surrounding media, immigration, and the overall direction of Western society.
To keep things organized, we're going to break this debate down into four main areas. First, the anatomy of a critique. Second, debating UK crime rates. Third, defining the far right. And finally, public trust and popularity.
Section 1. Anatomy of a critique, laying the groundwork.
So Jones kicks off his critique by pointing straight to this highly provocative post made by Elon Musk on X. He posted this during the August 2024 riots in the UK, which, as you might remember, followed the tragic Southport murders. Musk's position here is that growing populations with what he terms antithetical views are pushing Western nations toward an absolutely unavoidable breaking point. He's essentially painting a picture of a society right on the brink of collapse due to mass immigration. But on the flip side, Jones counters with a starkly different assessment. He completely rejects Musk's premise. Instead, Jones frames Musk as a billionaire who is radically disconnected from the actual everyday lives of people in the UK. According to Jones, Musk is essentially self-radicalizing through curated social media algorithms, and as a result, he's spreading narratives that aren't just false, but actively dangerous. So what is Jones's actual overarching thesis here? Well, it flips the script entirely. He places the blame for Western instability squarely on wealthy elites and their policies, rather than on marginalized groups or migrants. He argues that the real crisis stems from economic policies that hollow out communities just to benefit the super-rich, foreign policies that cause global chaos, and elites who promote far-right ideologies to redirect the public's completely justified anger away from the top and onto vulnerable minorities. Okay, moving to Section 2, debating UK crime rates, a clash of realities. This is where we see a massive ideological clash. On one hand, Musk suggests that unassimilated immigrant populations are driving the UK toward a violent reckoning, framing European cities as becoming increasingly dangerous. But Jones asserts that this entire narrative is just a total fabrication. He argues that the real threat of violence comes from far-right agitators who are manufacturing these false narratives about migrants specifically to whip up mass disorder. And he points directly to those 2024 UK riots as proof of that exact dynamic in action. To back up his side and counter Musk's narrative of spiraling violence, Jones brings the receipts, specifically UK crime statistics. He points to data showing violent crime in the UK is actually falling dramatically even as immigration increases. He notes homicides in England and Wales are at a roughly 50-year low. The murder rate in London, lowest ever recorded, and hospital admissions for major assaults have absolutely plummeted. Furthermore, Jones makes a point to note that the UK's violent crime rate remains significantly lower than that of the United States, which is where Musk actually lives. So Jones uses this data to argue that Musk is spreading a false narrative about crime to serve a political agenda. Section 3. Defining the far right. Normalcy or extremism. This is a really fascinating part of The Explainer. When pushed by the interviewer about supporting fringe right-wing parties, Musk flat-out rejects the far-right label. He claims he simply supports normal people who just want basic things, right? Secure borders, safe cities, sensible spending. He accuses the media of absurdly mischaracterizing these desires as extremist. But Jones counters this by zooming in on the actual policies of political groups Musk has endorsed, like Restore Britain. Jones points out that their platforms include the mass deportation of legally resident nationals, imprisoning politicians they disagree with, and even harboring members with outright neo-Nazi affiliations. So for Jones, these are definitely not normal policies. They represent a mortal threat to democracy.
Now, this brings us to a very direct moment analyzed in The Explainer. The Economist interviewer asks Musk point-blank about his personal biases, asking him directly, is he anti-Muslim? Musk's answer? Well, he doesn't just say no. Instead, he says he is against people coming to a country with antithetical views to Western values, specifically mentioning he's against rape, murder, and the imposition of foreign laws. Jones critiques this response as highly evasive. He argues that being against violence is a universal human trait, not a uniquely Western one. And deepening his critique, Jones questions what Musk even means by antithetical views. He points out that Western Muslims largely vote for progressive political parties, whereas Musk himself aggressively champions highly conservative social views, specifically highlighting Musk's intense opposition to trans rights.
So, Jones is suggesting that Musk's own views are actually less aligned with progressive Western values than the minority groups he happens to be criticizing.
All right, our final section, number 4. Public trust and popularity, the battle for credibility. When pressed by The Economist editor about the negative impact of his rhetoric, Musk defends his global influence by boasting about his follower count. He points to this massive number, 250 million followers on X, using it as irrefutable proof of his overwhelming popularity and his mandate as a trusted voice.
And he doesn't stop there. Musk attempts to turn the tables on his interviewer by attacking the credibility of traditional media. He claims that the favorable view of journalists in the United States is dismally low, citing a figure around 15%. His argument is essentially, hey, the public doesn't hate me, they hate you.
But Jones steps in with a reality check using YouGov polling data. These numbers illustrate that despite his vast reach, Musk is deeply unpopular among the general public. He carries a net favorability score of -40 in the UK and -20 in the US. Jones argues that Musk's follower count absolutely does not equate to genuine popularity, and that his lashing out in the interview is simply the reaction of a billionaire frustrated that he literally cannot buy public affection. So we reach the conclusion of Jones's critique, and there's a nuanced twist here. While Musk claims traditional media is a despised institution and positions himself as the true voice of the people, Jones actually agrees that Western media is deeply problematic and is facing a massive loss of trust. However, Jones insists the media is broken precisely because it is owned by billionaire moguls who operate exactly like Elon Musk, moguls who intentionally redirect public anger away from the super-rich and onto marginalized communities.
Which brings us to the end of this explainer, leaving us with a highly provocative question based on Jones's analysis. After looking at these clashing definitions of extremism, the contested crime statistics, and this fierce battle over media trust, we have to ask ourselves, are we focusing our anger on the marginalized, while the true architects of the crisis sit at the very top? It's a really compelling lens through which to view not just this one single interview, but the entire modern information war we find ourselves in. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, and keep questioning the narratives in front of you.